So in this video, we're going to talk about hash tables. Let me use blue. As the title shows, we're going to talk about hash tables. Now, what is a hash table? Most of you know what a hash table is. It's like a dictionary. You pass in a key and a value, and then you store a key value, then you store it in the hash table. But how is this dictionary, which people in Python know it as a dictionary, while in Java it is known as a hash map, or a hash map in Java. In Python, most people know it as a dictionary. How is it implemented? How can we implement it if we wanted to implement it? So what we do, you make an object, then in that object you pass in a key and a value. So after passing in a key and a value in the object will hash the key, meaning that if you know what hashing is like you pass in a string or a number, and then we get that string, and then we change it into a bunch of codes, which are usually in hexadecimal. We change it into a bunch of codes. So then we hash the key. So then after us hashing the key, we convert that hash into an index, meaning that if the hash was like 100010005067, we convert that 100567 into like an index of 0, 1, 2, 3. How do we do that? We just find the modulus of the length of the list. So if the length of the hash table is 100, then we find the modulus of the hash of the key. Then if you like after us finding the index and index returned is like 0, then we use the index 0 to store the value. Now if we want to retrieve the value, what we do when the person passes to us the key, we just hash the key, convert it into an index, then we can retrieve it from the list. That's simple how to make a hash table. But again, another question comes: what if you land in a situation whereby when you hash the key, you can have like 3 or 2 or 4 keys that when hashed have the same hash? How do you solve that problem? Now, sometimes the way to solve that problem, there's one way of solving it, but there are many ways. There are many ways of solving it, not one way. But the best way of doing it, which I like personally, is what it's called, let me write it down. The best way, it's called chaining. Let me write it, chaining. Now, what is chaining? Chaining will happen in this case. So in this case, if you are at like index, let's for example, this is our list. So you hash some key and then you store its value at maybe the hash has returned index 0, so you store the value here at like 10. Then when you have like let's say at position 1 of the list, that's position 1, there are numerous values that whose keys when hashed point to position 1. What we do, we can make another list here. And now in this other list we have made here at position 1, we can now have a tuple. Now in this tuple we shall store in the key, and then we shall store in the what? We shall store in the value, right? Then we shall store in again the key, then we shall store in the value. So then we can close our list. That will be our position 1. So we have chained these values which have the same index. When their key is hashed, we have chained them into a chain. Now, since we have chained them, when you come to check for the value, and then when you have been passed the key, and then you land in position 1, what you do, you just loop through this list at position 1, and then check if this key, you check for the key which matches the key that you have been given, and then you pass out its value. That's one way of doing it. It's called chaining. So now, how do we implement a hash table? So I'm going to use Python to implement a hash table in our case. So to implement a hash table, I'll create a new file. I'm going to call it hashes, then I'm going to call it table.py. Then I'm going to start implementing it. So to implement it, I'm going to create my class. I'm going to call it my class, and I'm going to call it hash table. initialize my class. Initialize my class. So after initializing my class, you have to tell me the size. Now this hash table, you have to predefine the size, because remember the size will help us. The size will help us in what? In turning a hash into an index. So then we shall call our self dot size will equal to size. Then we need a list of where we are going to store our items. So we shall call self dot items will equal to items. I mean self dot items will not equal to items. Self dot items will equal to an empty list, and then we have to predefine the size of that empty list, and the size will be self dot size. Then we're going to define our put function. How do we put an element into our hash table? So we're going to define our put. Our put will take in self, then it will take in our key, and then it will take in a value. Then we are going to have to hash the key. So now Python, in our case, has a predefined hash function. It's predefined. It's called hash. Just call it key. But if you are coding it in a language that does not have a predefined hash function, then you have to code your own hash function that will help you to hash our key. So after hashing the key, then we're going to need to turn the hash into an index. To turn the hash into an index, we get the hash, then we find the modulus of the size of the what? Of the list, so self.size. Then after that, we say our self.items. We shall pass in the index, and at that index we shall store in our value. Then we shall define our get function. So to get something, you have to pass in the key. Then if you pass in the key, we shall have to first hash the key. So we hash the key. Then after hashing the key, we make an index from the key. That will be our hash modulus self.size. So after making our index from the key, then we can return our value. So to return our value, we just get the item in the list at that index, which we just converted. So this is how simply you can make a hash table. It's not something big, because since in Python you already have a predefined hash function, that's why our code is looking neat. But if we never had a predefined hash function, we would have to define our hash function. So this is how you make a hash table in Python. But Python already has a hash table already predefined, and that's what usually we call a dictionary in Python. So thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed, you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.